I'm going to continue on with Volume 2 of The Adventures of Susan MeeLing, Scuba Diver Extraordinaire, Chapters 5 through 9, because I don't deny I'm in a little bit of a temper tantrum type of mood right now.
I do not deny that at all whatsoever.
And I'm just gonna. So, that's just. Okay, so in Chapter 6 of Volume 2 of The Adventures of Susan MeeLing, Scuba Diver Extraordinaire, written by Reverend Susan MeeLing, Lady Dori, Belle. I have a whole bunch of names, and you can even include God in there. But, that's just, you could joke about that.
It's certain prophetic things and whatever. Anyway,
so, next 6 certifications in scuba diving. Advanced open water on the 21st of June was when the paperwork was taken care of, as well as the specialty deep diver and the multi-level diver. So Lake Travis in Austin is where the deep scuba diver as well as multi-level scuba diver certifications were with Patrick D. Lynch and Jeff Walters, who had been my instructors with Curtis Powell Jr. Kidding me. And it's just one of those. So Patrick D. Lynch, in reference to the irony of, Dustin Lynch concert, and then Jeff Walters, I only seen in Cozumel, from the squid, that was, I want no hug for you. No squid, you scooch, and you octopi, no. You stay right there in those coral reefs. Don't you do that. No. Although, the scuba divers I was with at the time did not necessarily see that at the time. I mean, they saw the squid, they just didn't see, me telling, no. Get your butt over there. No. Scooch. Among a few other things. They didn't see that at all at the time. And then Powell, the irony of a Medal of Honor recipient, last name for. So that's why it's just kind of a weird little coinky-dink, that Chapter 6, and then, that whole prophetic thing and stuff like that. That whole,
Just saying. Anyway, so
I learned that Patrick did work with the Boy Scouts, and remembered that one. I think that it is a different one, but kind of looks like Curtis. Who it could have been Curtis, but I think it was somebody else. I think it was another guy that was also an instructor. But basically, at the lake, one of the instructors had said, "Oh, you're only scuba diving because of the insurance money." And I looked at him, I'm like, "No, I'm scuba diving because of my health." And I would have gotten into scuba diving much sooner if it wasn't for who I was married to. And so, if you ever wind up finding out about what type of marriage I was in, I guarantee you're going to be eating those words. And a few of the scuba divers that were in the vicinity were just kind of like, "Ooh, she mad. She mad." There's no mistaking. She mad. She mad. She mad. But yeah, as far as that type of marriage, Yeah, and legal, and yeah, that was, I survived. And so, yeah, I didn't really take too kindly to that. I've dealt with that before, well before that guy, and so a few different times, by some people being the same, and then others that were just random. And it's like I don't need you to go and do that. And by the way, as far as the my San Antonio Express News and the fact that they had published that I was engaged to Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., if you could retract that and make an editorial aspect, knowing I obviously was not and never married him, and not forgetting I did very much clarify that in my first two books. But yes, that would be great if the San Antonio Express News could let me know of that retraction being done. Because, yeah, no. And, not forgetting the fact that, Robert had lived in his own apartment before he had gone over to Iraq, that whole, like, portraying something that's not, just because of the legal aspect. Because I did tell that reporter that we were in the process of a divorce. And I did tell that reporter that Robert was living in his own apartment by the time he actually signed the paperwork, but that wasn't in the article. Why would that be in the article? I mean, that would only make sense, right? And not forgetting everything that I had done up until that point or afterwards, that would be really appreciated if I was informed of that being retracted and rectified. Because, not to be rude or anything like that, but, there's certain things that I'd appreciate if that would be taken care of sooner rather than later, and I'd be, informed of that. That being said, so, going on in the open water certification. Yeah, so at the time of going out to Lake Travis and all that, I was asked how many scuba dives I had done at that point. And I guess I was a little off on numbers because I had said 73 dives at that point. And I needed a certain number before I went into the ocean for scuba diving to book those trips. And I had hit it at that point in time. That would be why I booked the trip when I did. So by the time of, June 21st, I had logged over 73 scuba dives before going to Cozumel. And they were all lake and quarry and hot springs scuba dives, because I wanted to make sure I knew my gear. I could take care of my gear no matter what. No matter how many things I added to my gear. My baseline gear would be squared away. Obviously it was. But as far as Lake Travis at that time, which it wasn't until the time after that there started being a drought where the platforms were moved. A few different times over the decades, but at that point in time they had been moved, and whatchamacallit, so my atmospheric measurement computer had registered, because Patrick Lynch had wanted me to go off of my computer as far as how deep we went for the deep dives. It was 105 ATMs. So 105 times 33 meters times 3 yards or 3 feet. That's how deep we went. And I was told about people who thought it would be a good idea to take a can of Vienna sausages and just open them up in there. And I was like, why would people do that? And Patrick and Jeff Waters and Curtis Powell, they were just like, oh, well, because, it'll attract fish. I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that it would attract fish, but it would attract fishies. And they were just like, yeah, fish. I'm like, no. I've gotten into this discussion with Jeff Davis, and he, you need to call them fish. Well, I'll call the right ones fish, and then I'll call the other ones fishies, and I'm talking fishies. And so I didn't have the ability to clarify the difference of which I call, fish are, like what are known. And then fishies are the fishies that are just so cute. Just so cute to me, there's fish, and you can reel those in on a line, and then there's fishies where they're bigger than me, and so they're bigger than the scuba divers that I've known. It's just little fishies, they're so cute. Look at what I call puppy dogs. Okay, so in this reference, I look at, there's punting dogs, which are the little, I'm not advocating animal cruelty. It's just, I don't like little dogs. I don't like the little yipper, little ankle biter. Just get out of the way. Like literally punting dogs. Go. You weigh less than a football. Like, get out of here. And then there's what I call puppy dogs. And puppy dogs are like Great Danes and German Shepherds and Mastiffs and Akitas and, Rottweilers. Those are puppy dogs. These are little puppies. These are puppies. And so when it's a little late to clarify the discussion back then with Jeff and a few other scuba divers, but I'm sure it makes a lot more sense where it's like, yeah, there are fish and there are fishies. So in that analogy, fish are, the ones that, and then there's fishies, like whale sharks, they're fishies. They're so cute, little fishies. And, anglerfish, they're fishies. Look at there's teefies. And, like megalodon sharks, they're so cute, little floppy fishies with a teeny tiny belly, just a little teeny tiny tail and a teeny tiny belly. They're so cute. And apparently that's what they're called, the really, really, really big ones. I'm just gonna continue on with my scuba dive announcement. Yeah, because those exist. Oh, they do. Oh, they do. And you don't want those coming to the surface. You do not want those coming to the surface. You do not. No, you don't. So, for example, I'm going to jump ahead. There was where I landed at the bottom of the ocean, and, the whole, like, I'll go into more description a little bit later on. But yeah, where it's saying, you shut your mouth. I see your teefy. Don't you get back down there. Don't you do that, fishy. I see your teefy. Not teefies, teefy. And you teefy. Yes, you so cute. Get back down there. Don't you be a bad fishy. Don't you be a bad fishy. But don't make me punch you in the face to have to defend myself. Okay? And so, as an example. And so, where most females are like, oh, cute little puppy did this little teacup. And, look, I can throw it like a baseball. I'm not advocating for that. I know I can't be the only one who's thought of that, though. Especially with that yipping noise. And so I like dogs, puppy dogs. I like puppy dogs, black labs, golden retriever, anything above like 50 to 75 pounds, that is a puppy dog to me. Huskies, Malamutes, wolves, stuff like that. It's your puppy dog. It's your little fluffy puppy dog. So, there's dogs, because they're in the, canine species. And then there's puppy dogs, which they are in the canine species, but they're puppy dogs. They're so fluffy. And so then there's fish, and then there's fishies. And I know that is not the scientific term, but I would guesstimate the people that I did the interview with way back when in reference to mast very much understand. No, I know there are fish, but there are fishies, and they're so cute. They're fishies, and they're so cute. They got TVs, and they're so no. They're so cute. They got little teeny tiny fins. Oxymoron. Teeny tiny fins, just one, and it's just the side one that's not even the dorsal. And then it's just a little fishy. It's just a fishy. Yeah, I know that probably is the furthest thing from, professionalism in that regard, but I didn't have the words for it's a big fishy. It's a cutie patootie. It's so cute. It's just so cute with like these teepees, and they're like pointy. And they're so cute. The little teeth. So in reference to, Lake Travis and being told about, oh yeah, people going open Vienna sausage cans. That sounds dumb. No, the fish come out. Yeah, and then the fishies found it. Like, how did, do you understand, natural progression? And they were like, well, yeah. And I'm like, no, I don't think you do. I don't think you do. I'm not saying you don't, but I don't think you understand in the way I'm referencing. And they're like, well, explain. I'm like, okay, so you open a can, yes. And then, the oil goes out into the water, yes. And then the scuba divers swim in the oil, yes. Oh, okay. And so then, the little fish come out and they come and eat the Vienna sausages? Yes, okay. And then what happens? Well, then the scuba divers go do their thing. Wrong. Wrong. No. What do you mean? Well, you got the oil, right? Yeah. And food, right? Yeah. Okay. So then you go and swim around and scuba dive in the lake, and only the little fishies pay attention, the teeny tiny ones, up to what, that? Yeah, that's about the biggest one that anybody. Yeah, because there's other ones, because so the little fish, let's do math. The little fish eat the Vienna sausages, and then the bigger fish eat the little fish, and then the bigger fish eat the mid, and then the bigger, and big, roar, and then fishies. Anybody ever go missing? And they were just like, excuse me? I'm like, anybody ever go missing? What do you mean? I'm speaking English, right? Yes, okay. So did anybody ever go, oh, I'm going to do the Vienna sausage thing in the lake, and go open it up, and then go swim around in the oil, and the oil sticks to the stuff, and then, they'll find them? Well, there have been I didn't ask about drownings. I asked if somebody went missing. Where they didn't find them. Not that I know of. Okay, well, I would guesstimate there's at least been a few, and if it's been since doing it, I'm going to open up a can of Vienna sausages, probably the fishy was, hungry, and was like, ooh, you move slow, dinner, nom, nom, nom. And they were just like, did you have to do it like that? Would you like me to make it fluffy? I don't know how you make that fluffy, but that's pretty much how that went. If anybody was like, oh, I'm right here, now I'm going to go scuba diving after I swim around in the oil, I'm going to stick to your stuff, and then do blah, 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 and then, fishy, and then dinner. is that fluffy? They were just like, no, that's not fluffy. That's about as fluffy as I got. So, other than that, you don't want to know how they chewed it. So, I'm just going to throw it. I mean, that's about as fluffy as I got for you. And they're just like, don't tell us about how they chew. Okay.
You're going into their habitat. And you want to go and introduce that sort of stuff, and then like they get used to that smell, and like they're big fishies, and then
I want some. And then you get close enough, and then dinner. I don't think that takes much when it comes to math, but okay, whatever. What do I know? I'm just, excuse me, and they look at me, they're like, oh my God, and I'm like, so, I'm just saying, I mean, I know there have to be scientists that have, like, the science words for that, other than, dinner. Although, depending on the size of the human being, it might have just been a snack. And they just kind of looked at me and they're like, oh my God, Susan. And I'm like, yeah, what? And they're like, you're a girl. Yes, I know. Yep, still a girl. That has not changed. Go to the store. We're in Austin. I'm sure I could find a store nearby. But that would, be different.
throw that out there. Yeah, okay. Oh my God, Susan, you really just said that.
Yes, I did. I went there. And so, I mean, by rough estimation, 105 ATMs is 3,564 feet. So, it's deeper than that. And so, just saying, usually the bigger fish are at the bottom of the ocean, and so the same sort of thing in a lake. So how old is Lake Travis? Lake Travis more than a day old? Yes, the answer is yes. So in Lake Travis, there's, fishies. A few of them. And so, just throwing that out there, so then, I told those guys about the time when I was planning to go to the Georgetown Aquarium, so that way I could, go swim with the whale shark. Teeny tiny fish. Teeny tiny. I mean, comparatively. I mean, I even had that discussion with Patty. She was like, oh, the biggest shark is the blue whale. The biggest fish is the blue whale. I'm like, yeah, there's bigger than that. And she's like, no, it's like bigger than like a couple of school buses. Yeah, there's bigger fish than that. No, Susan. Yes, there are. No, not on record. Well, maybe not on record, but just remember, humanity only knows about like 10% of the ocean. And, I'm just going to throw that out there. Fish move, right? They swim around. They don't always stay in the same spot. Some of them don't go by current patterns. They just kind of go wherever they go. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Oh my God, Susan. Well, I'm just throwing that out there, Patty. I'm just saying, there's
less than 10% of the ocean has been like documented, and let me throw this like other little for you. And she was like, what? Do fish move? Yeah. Okay, so like they could have gone into an area, and then the fishies could have been like, okay, they're gone, the coast is clear. Literally and figuratively. So on that on that particular, I'm gonna end this one and go to the next one.